Hello. Today's game will be my own game. It was a fun game, decent game. We've got whatever that name is, a barcode, versus me. um, this was just a decent game. I had fun playing it. I was, I just want to sort of show off the power of this build because I was blind hard counted, and I still, um, won the game. Uh, well, I feel like it should have been a blind hard counter, but I don't know. I just thought, um, I'm a Diamond 3 player. If you're below Diamond 3, this game might help you figure out how I thought. Now, if I get the first pile in here with the first probe, normally that means I'm able to break, but you can block their natural. But you can see they had a 48-second hatchery, which is about 4 seconds shorter than normal. Um, that seems a little odd. I think when you send a drone too early, you lose a lot of mining time with that drone, so it's not perfect, but honestly, having an earlier hatch probably isn't bad. The accidental. Nah, he didn't cancel that. He cancelled that on accident. The probe didn't block the spawning pool, but that would have been sick if it did. Anyway, we see. I think that's honestly a slow gas. I'm not 100% certain. We can see. If he wants to get link speed, he should really pull into this gas soon. But you can see for me, I've got the double gate and cybercore coming up. He's about to scout that in a moment. Doesn't pull into gas. Yeah, that's a really odd choice. And he's gonna get punished for it here. Double chrono goes down on the gateways. And that started. Warp gate started. Warp gate started. Warp gate started. Ah, shoot. I messed it up. Ah, well. Doesn't matter. Let me show production. Fairly standard opener, but adepts start shedding across the map. He saw the adepts with the overlord. Let's actually check to see if he spotted them. Go to his and speed up a little bit. He's distracted. Does he look? No, he just queued that up. He misses the adept shade out. Oh, that's an odd choice. Adepts bypass his lings. Check there and there. Stalker's very late. Alright, check for an extension. I see. Normally Zergs tend to have a third here. I don't know why he doesn't have a third yet. Some cheesy Zergs start to like to start a third. He walks back with the lings. Oh, that was a big misplay because I didn't have anything in my wall. Let's see. 4 workers killed. 6 workers killed. Oh. 8 workers killed now. Yeah, that gives me a 5 worker lead. And I'm also just got more money than him at the moment, but I don't really have much army. So I was ahead of him in eco. But he just made drones and it's about even, but the reason I like it is it gives you vision. If he doesn't have double queens at the natural, you can do a lot more damage. And honestly, if you just shade up here, you also just do more damage. Now, he's going blind spore. I snipe his absorber with the stalk drive in the wall. But you see this, you see double gateways activating, you see stalker, you see a twilight. It could be blink, it could be glaive adept. So I don't know. Maybe he did decide to. Does he build his roach one? Yeah, he builds his roach one after that. You should always be getting a roach on here anyway, just because it gives you that extra option. But the thing I don't like about this, he has no overlords on the map. He doesn't really know what I'm doing. I think roaches are sort of hard counted by Blink Stalker. I'm not 100% certain though. Maybe he's just guessing because I showed up with the double adepts. And I don't know. I don't know enough about Zerg Macro to really commentate on it. But you can see just about everything's finishing up. This would be so much nicer if I had Warp Gate earlier. Now I get 4 warp-ins all at once. If you have like a proxy gate here, it's really nice because you can send them across the map early and then warp in here for like another big round. It is really nice if you want to hit them with the big adept shade in. I start my nexus here. Attacking while expanding is really good because it's a lot harder for them to deal with the attack. Now, if you wanted to be really cheesy, you could probably try and like split the adepts up into 2 groups. I think it's a attack 2 places. I just group them up a bit so that they fight a little better. This man blindly went for like a mass roach in the mid game. Cancel the shade. Oh no, I meant to cancel that shade. Shoot, that's a problem. I would have been able to do so much more damage. Now let's look at the units loss. I'm 400 resources ahead at this point. I got 9 workers killed. I mean, honestly, it didn't go that great. I could have microed that a lot better. If I cancelled that first shade in, I would have been in an amazing spot. I don't think I should. I think I should have shaded backwards up there, just to keep his roaches back for a little bit longer. If I focus fire the queen or the roach here, there's so much more damage. But I've got my robo starting. I've got my my defense against this warping in. If I also just continued to walk these adepts across here, but that matters less because what matters more is if these guys do slightly more damage, but if I can survive the roach all in. And what I've done there is trade a bunch of my army for eco, so I'm better in the long term, as long as I can survive this attack. And he knows that he has to hit with his timing now, because I don't have any units left, and so he starts moving across the map. Now if I had blink up, I probably could have met him, and because when you're spread out like this, it's really you're taking a bad fight, right? Because you got like 2 units at a time, and if I got like a bunch of blink stalkers here, they all get like 1 volley off compared to like all of them get to attack compared to like his 1 or 2 units that attack. And so defensive micro here is really good, right? And this has an impact here where half of his units aren't fighting for the first thing, while all of my stalkers are. I shouldn't have moved back in there, but I didn't like that I had moved back in here, so I moved forward just to make sure all my units are in range. Stalkers warp in, worker pull, which is slowly bleeding out, and I deflect most of it. Now this was not a good trade for me, especially since I lost all those workers, but I think I'm about even with the Zerg in terms of workers, and I've got less army, but I've got a lot of immortals. And he doesn't really have any arming. Now he's going for a Hydralisk follow-up. When you see this sort of Hydra comp, you sort of want to get a hive, so you can go lurkers and infestors. The lurkers are really good at just destroying Protoss ground, like especially squishy things like High Templar that would normally counter your comp. Ultras are also pretty good at that. But if you have a bunch of lurkers and you're versing someone with a bunch of stalkers, it's really hard. Now, this thing I really like is I'm splitting up his army by attacking 2 places at once. Depths, they don't need a lot of micro when they attack. And so that was shift moved, right? Micro back, take an okay trade here. Adepts get into here. Oh, if he didn't have that spine there, he would have been messed up. But because the spine's there, that stings. Those are both bad trades. I go for the recall here, because if those links get in that fight, I just lose everything. Oh, bro, if I microed those adepts to just target down workers, I would have obliterated that fight. Anyway, uh, production. I start +1/+1 chrono it. I don't go storm here because I don't get the scout on the Hydralisk den, and I don't really see many Hydralisks. Well, I saw a few, but I didn't see many. Instead, what I go for is Archon Disruptor. Disruptors are not great into the Zerg late game, but that's because they've got the Viper, and you can just use the Abduct to just instantly cancel the Disruptor Blast, making them effectively useless. Now, if you've got High Templar, you can feedback them. If you've got Blink Stalkers, you can blink forward and snipe them. But I don't really have either of those. I just start the Robotic Spay and start going into Disruptor. Now I have... Oh my goodness, how long was that there for? Oh, he hadn't baked the rocks. That has to be a misplay. That's so... Just hit the timing. That doesn't really change anything. Like, I'm not going to be taking you're not going to be taking a fight here. I move my observer here, scout this attack and go, oh. I knew some sort of attack was coming, but... Oh, massive disruptor hit. Let's have a look at that units loss tab. I'm down 1.3k. Look, I'm basically ahead of the Zerg by like half a base right now. You know, I go from being... When do I start my... Oh, don't need to worry about that yet. Get this with my observer. First disruptors go out. Insane value. The game completely... I'm winning now. I'm up in economy and I'm up in army. I've got honestly the better army. Archons is the main thing I need so that he can't just flood the ling, build a million lings and obliterate me. And so that should be what I'm working on right now. Zerg starts populating his bases. He's about to have a population explosion, but his army, it's not very good. It's roaches, it's slings, and it's like a small amount of hydras. He's got... Oh, there we go. Now he's got a good chunk of hydras. That's a little bit better, but then still, hydras, you really want to be able to turn them into lurkers. You really want to lurk a den, and he has just been he's just been waiting way too long to make that hive. Now, Banelings, I can understand why he did that. I don't think he's really seen the Archons yet. I expand to a 5th. Things are really heating up for this fight, where both of us aren't expanding. We know a big fight's coming. I have a Zealot here on this watchtower. So I can see that he's starting with that. I start a Dark Shine. Just because they're a little bit better than Adepts, because where Adepts, they require more micro to kill units, while the DTs, all you really need to do is right click on a spore and then just let them do their thing, and then it requires a lot more APM to respond to that. Now, here for this fight, I get my Archons out in front to tank the Banes. Disruptors go out. 2, pull back. 3rd, nice, he doesn't react in time, I get a decent chunk. 4th, big 4th, massive. And he pulls back from that. He honestly probably could have taken that still. But, he pulls back. I really didn't like that. I had like big disruptor hits, I did a fair bit of damage to his army, but because he pulled back, I won that trade. But he honestly could have just committed. My disruptors were all off cooldown, and I only found one big hit. The thing is, the disruptors, they do a lot of damage. Since he's decided to pull back, I decide to clear up a little bit of creep. A few more disruptor blasts. Big disruptor. I got one more left. But he decides to pull back because my DTOS succeeded. And that was actually really good. Somehow two of my DTs live there. Yeah, so I'm fairly certain he's using F2. He's been using F2 to respond to my harass, and that's really not good. With how bad my disruptor shots were, I should have lost this game. But because he keeps overreacting to my harass, I've been actually able to build up my army comp a little bit better. I've got way too many minerals and not enough gas. So I should probably swap to using charge slots for the harass. Oh, he's hotkeys. Now he's got everything on 1 and 2. He's not using any hotkeys for his army. He F2s and puts them all on it. Now here, he goes for the gold, but now for him to push out, he needs to push out into disruptors and into a high ground. So his entire army is trapped down here, and this was the biggest fight. This was the best situation for me. Phew. One at a time. He goes for it again. Poof. Oh, if he focus fired those down, he would have won that for sure. And then he just commands them away. If he just focused fired, he would have won that. Oh, that's so painful. That's so painful. Second volley of disruptors. That is exactly what you want to happen. You want to be able to pull off a second volley, because that means if you can learn a second volley in a fight, that is like the best thing possible. Morphing banelings. At this point, you should not be using banelings. Zerglings, maybe. Banelings, no. Now, ultras show up. That's a big problem. Yeah, banelings are just not good into immortals, which is what I've got a lot of. And now, ultras are so strong. I'm just happy I get that. I start churning out immortal production. DTOS, finding success, focusing down the spore. Oh, that's rigged. That's so rigged. It means these DDs can now do whatever they wanted. If I wanted to, I could probably focus fire the workers, but because he lost all his overseers in that earlier fight, I'm actually able to get the hat, which denies a lot more value over this period of time. And then I save my DTs as well. Oh, that's beautiful. He misses them! Oh, poor man. Oh, that's so painful. That's so painful in terms of income. It just killed it. Oh. Anyway, I really start churning out immortals. I think a Zerg, after you show this tech, you really need to hit hard with it. So, and he was just struggling on resources because he had no money because of his bases all mined out. The harass kept from expanding when it was important, and he just kept pulling away from fights he probably could have won. And I think what could have been good, if I had more disruptors, it could be good. Or maybe if I had some, what do you call them? Sentries on 2 instead of I was originally going to go Storm, but I don't know. Storm's good, but it's not always good depending on what the Zerg's building. And I don't think Storm's really good into ultras. Disruptors, on the other hand, a little bit better. Immortals chow through the ultras, obliterates his army, and that's GG. That was a really disappointing fight because um it was just army comp. His army was so small. It was just because he had no minerals. He blew it all on. I really wish I could see the units that died, but I don't know. He just lost all his minerals. And, I don't know how he lost them all. I guess roaches. Either way, it was a really disappointing fight. It was just a game that fight at the end was just won because I had the I had a I had a, he showed his ultras too early and I hard counted them. I guess you don't really want to get ultras when you're economically poor because it gives your opponent time to hard counter them. If he had gone lurkers and infester, so not infester, viper, he would have had a much better chance at winning those fights. I think dealing with a lurker concave with like a mass ground army like this is so hard. And it was a 20-minute game and he just didn't tick up past it. So my opinion is I could have maybe gotten sentries on 2 and used those as another spellcaster because being able to split up his army or force his army to stay in range of disruptors would have been really good. Their force fields. I could have uh, maybe carry a void ray. Like I won that game mainly because the Zerg didn't really want to teched up really slow and didn't really get any spellcasters. But I don't know. It was an intense game. It was a fun game. Let me know what you think. See ya.